Hello, I'm Dr. M, otherwise known as Jonathan Mitchley from the University of Reading, and I thank the organisers for inviting me to speak at this fantastic celebration. I'm going to address some of what I see as the big botany challenges for our century. Botanic gardens play a key role in all of these challenges. I appreciate that I'm preaching to the botanically converted here, and perhaps the biggest challenge for botanists now is to preach to the unconverted, to actually convert them. In a sense, botany and the beauty, fascination and importance of plants are best kept secrets, and they desperately need to become really badly kept secrets if we are to surmount the big botanical challenges anytime soon. The phrase the Big Botany Challenge stems from our 2019 Symposium held as part of our celebrations of 50 years of Masters Botany teaching at Reading. In November 2019 we held a symposium to tackle some of the issues of plants in our education system, or the lack of plants in our education system, or the lack of the proper approach to plants in our education system. The Big Botany Challenge was all about promoting passion for plants in our schools. Over 80 delegates and presenters came to Reading from over 50 different organisations: schools, education specialists, exam boards, botanic gardens, research institutions, industry specialists and conservation bodies. And we realised that to deal with big botany challenges, we need collaboration between educators, employers, industry and others. And these are some who are involved, and you can hear their reflections on the achievements of that symposium by following the link. Now, the issues and outputs of our 2019 symposium were focused on the curriculum, on resources, on getting plants into the classroom, on raising awareness of careers with botany and with plants, and overall enabling the discovery of the joy of plants as early as possible in our school students. So what is the Big Botany Challenge in 2021, a couple of years later? Well, I see it as getting plants to the centre of education. There's more work to be done there, but also getting plants to the centre of public consciousness, political awareness, economic development and environmental policy. And these are big botany challenges indeed. But what a difference a pandemic makes. It seems that the pandemic has actually increased plant awareness in Britain and more widely. Even David Attenborough, whose focus tends to be on animals, was looking at the snowdrops in his garden, and it was lifting his heart. So the pandemic seems to have made a difference to plant awareness, but we need much more, and that is the nub of the Big Botany Challenge. Now, here's a thought experiment for you. What if our political leaders put plants at the centre of policy? We all know plants are fascinating, beautiful and central to the solution of every critical environmental issue on the planet. But what if politicians were to get this? What a difference that would make to the big botany challenges that face us today. But we can ask, why should this be so apparently preposterous? There have been nature and plant-aware political leaders in the past. Think of John Muir. He was a botanist and he had significant influence on Teddy Roosevelt, but that was in 1903. Can we think of any elected nature and plant-aware politicians since then? If we can't, then that probably explains a lot. So what I want to do for the remainder of this presentation is to touch on some of the elements of what I see as the current Big Botany Challenge. So let's start at the top. We need to get more plants into global environmental policy. And we can wonder what Glasgow and COP26 will deliver and how much of that will be focused on plants and the way that plants can help us in environmental crises such as climate change. We need to get more botany and plants into the Millennium Development Goals because humanity's future literally depends on plants. Planting 1 trillion trees is just an ill-informed and actually damagingly popular soundbite. The key thing is to get more botany and more plant ecology into environmental policy to deliver the right plant in the right place, and it need not always be a tree. We need to engage the younger generation with plants and botany, and that's certainly a focus of my own work and the focus of our 2019 Symposium. We need young ambassadors and champions for botany. And although social media can be a two-edged sword, I do feel it can be a force for plants and botany in the 21st century. We need to get more plants on TV and other modern mass media. It's 25 years since The Private Life of Plants hit our screens. David Attenborough has made over 80 documentary films since then, most with a minuscule emphasis on plants. Now, documentaries are in effect part of our wider education system, and we need plants in our education system at all levels. So here's some more thought experiments for you. What if we unleash the mind-blowing world of plant diversity on school children before they learn about photosynthesis and xylem and phloem in a nondescript plant? What if we train up and support teachers to have more confidence with plants? We need more and more interesting and relevant plants in the curriculum. The curriculum must be exciting if the students are to engage with plants and botany and to take this engagement and fascination forward in their lives. We need to engage our students with books by botanists to teach the fascination of plants. And this can include engaging with the plants in one's local environment. Some are rather sniffy about learning plant names. Latin names are a waste of time, they say, but knowing the names of common plants in your locality, whether that's the common names or the scientific names, gives you a firmer grounding in your local environment. I very much believe that. And while we're on the subject of plants in the local environment, we can see that plants are everywhere. You're never very far from a plant. In fact, you're usually within centimeters, if not millimeters, of a plant. And pavement plants are a key education tool. Even the inner city school with little more than tarmac will harbour plants, little mosses, seedlings of wildflowers, all surviving seemingly against the odds. And these plants can be observed, admired, identified, and used as examples of the extraordinary resourcefulness that is the green plant. My colleague Alistair Cullum at the Big Botany Challenge 2019 encouraged teachers to get plants into the classroom. Grow plants in the space you're teaching in, he says. Integrate your pupils with living things. We have a video from this symposium, and if you follow the link to my YouTube channel, you should be able to find it there. We need to take plants to everyone. We need to engage in botanical outreach. Teach the kids how to use a hand lens, and you will totally alter their perception of plants. This was our activity for Fascination of Plants Day 2019, looking at smelly plants, looking at the antimicrobial properties in the lab, and looking at smelly plants outside in the Botanic Garden at Reading, looking at the ways in which plants encourage insects to pollinate the plants, and also the ways in which plants use chemical defenses to deter herbivores. Fascination of Plants 2021 was postponed. It will now take place on 18th of May 2022, around that time, so do check out Fascination of Plants Day 2022 on the web. There's a big role for Botanic Gardens in these kinds of international outreach events. There are big botany challenges at university level also. The loss of botanical programs and modules, the tendency to view plants as a big turn-off for students, which can easily become a self-fulfilling prophecy, when the truth is students will respond very positively to plants if they are taught with enthusiasm, originality and relevance. Knowing about plants is a key employability skill in ecology conservation and consultancy, amongst other employment sectors. Our MSc, Species Identification and Survey Skills at the University of Reading, has a remarkable employment record. And over this one-year course, students learn plant and animal identification and survey skills, and they can carry out a 6-month summer placement with an ecological consultancy. And by the end of the placement and the course, we regularly find that the majority of students are either kept on as full-time staff with their placement consultancy, or they quickly find employment elsewhere. My colleague John Warren and myself invented Botanical University Challenge, which is a fun event modelled on the famous BBC TV quiz, and with the aim of promoting botany at university level. The first contest was held at Kew in 2016, and it's becoming a popular annual event, with offshoots springing up in Spain and the United States recently, and we hope more widely. In February 2021, we had 15 institutions competing, necessarily online. And talking to the young participants, it's very clear to me that the Big Botany challenge is to provide a support network for plant-aware students, botanical societies across the country, and the internet and the web are crucial tools for this. There will be a Botanical University contest in 2022, and because of the increasing uptake from institutions, we're running this over 2 half days. The first round will be held on the 16th, and the subsequent rounds and the semis and the final will be held on the 23rd of February next year. Do check out the website, get in touch if you'd like to participate as a team, or if you'd like to help, for example, in setting questions and so on. So we achieved a lot at the Big Botany Challenge 2019, and I think not least in getting such a diversity of stakeholders together to debate the educational challenges. There's also much else going on at the moment, as this conference is showing, but there's still much to be done. So in terms of where next from our Big Botany Challenge Symposium 2019, there are discussions and moves afoot. Ideas from Reading, from the Science and Plants for Schools group, who are presenting next, also the Oxford Botanic Garden and Arboretum, who have organised this fantastic celebration. And our focus is very much on teachers and teacher trainers, looking particularly at secondary schools. So I'm sure there will be upcoming events to look out for. But of course, there is scope for wider collaboration to deal with these challenges. And there is also a need for champions to tackle the big botany challenges of broadcasting, the mass media, politics, economics, and sustainable development. And these issues were discussed by BGCI's Stephen Blackmore at our 2019 symposium, and here's a short excerpt.
The grassroots responses to the challenges that lay behind the Sustainable Development Goals, so many of those trace back to botany and to plants. And as those crises grow, there's more and more of a realization that natural solutions are a big part of what should be going on to engage with the planet's ecology. And I think we need to make certain that we position botany as being the career path for people who can contribute to those natural solutions and to deliver them. But the thing that we rarely ever mention is, who are botanists? What do they do? And I think that needs building into our thinking for the future very much more. Because botanists are in fact the people who know how to restore damaged landscapes, how to feed people, how to repair the damages that we're recognizing that have been done to our planet, how to take people to an understanding of the benefits of engaging with nature, how to create urban green spaces. Those are all jobs, I think, for botanists. What I think we should do is try to put the spotlight more firmly on who botanists are, what they can do, and the difference that they can make in the world.
And before I move on, notice how beautiful that symposium room is. My colleague Alistair Cullum filled the room with plants, which were both the focus of different presentations, but also to provide botanical ambience for this botanical symposium. I think a take-home message here is that bring plants into the room, anytime. Any symposium, but certainly any symposium dealing with plants, should have plants in the room. The presence of plants has a positive effect on our well-being, but also provide talking points, discussion points, and enhance our ability to think and discuss in original and novel ways. So the bottom line for the Big Botany Challenge is to enhance plant awareness, encouraging the true appreciation of the beauty, fascination, and importance of plants. As I said at the top of this presentation, it's great to preach to the converted here, but we need to continue to preach to the unconverted. For all our sakes, the 21st century has to be the century of plants. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to the questions session later.